drugs, crime gangs, franchising of crime is a problem.
Receiving the report, Governor Soludo stated that such a commission can be taken zone by zone in Nigeria if the country is serious about tackling insecurity, highlighting the existential nature of insecurity threats, and assured that every aspect of the recommendations within the state powers would be executed, while presenting the document as the new framework for his administration to think on. Governor Soludo maintained that they will share aspects of the document with his colleagues in the Southeast and the National Security Infrastructure for action.
This, I can assure you, will become the new framework for us to think. The new framework for us to think. And the new framework for action.
The Secretary to the State Government, Professor Solochukwu Lobelu, recalled that in the past, the state was thrown into a period of agitation and violence, and that the committee was asked to come up with recommendations, said that the United Nations Development Partners, UNDP, also contributed to the work at the inception, adding that upon submission of its interim report, they recommended for the establishment of a bureau of missing persons. Recall that the announcement and subsequent inauguration of the committee was a follow-up to the outcome of the Peace Building and Security Dialogue, which was convened by Governor Soludo at the Professor Dora Akunyili Women's Development Center, Awka, in 2022. The committee was given a period of 6 months from its inauguration to present its preliminary report. Last year, the committee submitted its inception and diagnostic report, after which the governor gave them a time extension for the submission of the final report. The head of service, Barrister Theodora Igwebwe, other members of the Anambra Executive Council, the secretary of the committee, Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu, and other members of the commission were present at the event. Ejike Abana, ABS News.
The Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, has reiterated the determination of his administration to sustain the dream of making the state the information and communication technology heaven of the country. Governor Soludo stated this during the closing ceremony of the orientation course for the 2024 Batch A Stream 1. Core members deployed to the state are the Nnamdi Azikiwe NYSC Unity Permanent Orientation Camp, Umuawolo Mboku, Awka South Local Government Area, and urged the core members to be grounded in the information communication technology, to be systematically engaged during their service year, especially in the areas of software engineering, information technology support, information technology security, system analysis, system design, network and database administration, as well as web and multimedia. Correspondent Njideka Okoye now reports.
Governor, represented by the State Commissioner for Youth Development, Mr. Patrick Agamba, noted that the program will have tremendous impact on the youths, as it would make them acquire digital skills, provide room for employable citizenry, reduce youth restiveness, and promote peace, harmony, and economic growth, even as he announced that his administration has also diversified from hydrocarbon-powered street lights to sustainable solar-powered ones. Governor Soludo also urged the core members to support in creating a greener and more environmentally friendly state, as NYSC members are always the vanguard for assisting government and non-governmental organizations to realize its dreams, pledging his continued support to the scheme morally and financially, particularly during the orientation periods. In his speech, the chairman, NYSC, Anambra State Governing Board, and the State Commissioner for Youth Development, Mr. Agamba, represented by the President, Anambra State Association of Town Unions Youth Wing, Comrade Ken Okoli, congratulated the core members on the successful completion of the 21 days orientation course, which he said has sharpened their minds on the tasks ahead, reminding them that the good people of Anambra State have already prepared to warmly receive them in their various communities. Presenting her address, the Anambra State Coordinator of NYSC, Mrs. Blessing Iruma, informed the governor that NYSC officials and the collaborating partners diligently executed the tasks assigned to them by exposing the core members to sports, drills, parade, martial arts, professional and traditional lectures, cultural dance and drama, physical training, skills acquisition, and other exciting activities aimed at equipping them with the necessary skills and the knowledge to thrive during their service year. Urged the corps members to adhere strictly to the laws of the land and the established rules and the regulations of the scheme, and as well respect the cultures and traditions of their host communities, reminding them that active participation in the community development service is a vital aspect of the NYSC program, and extended sincere gratitude to all their collaborative agencies, the Anambra State government, the traditional rulers of Umuawolo and Mbauku communities, and all camp officials for their contributions for the success of the program. The corps members were full of excitement and eagerness to get to their places of primary assignment. From Umuawolo, Mbauku, Njideka Okoye, ABS News.
The Anambra State Governor's wife, Mrs. Noye Soludo, has revealed plans to move out-of-school children loitering the states of the state back to classrooms. Mrs. Soludo was speaking when she hosted community women leaders under the women wing of the Anambra State Association of Town Unions, ASATU, at the Governor's Lodge, Amobia. According to the governor's wife, the free education policy of the current administration in the state is a good opportunity for every school child and even their parents, pointing out that children wandering the streets during school hours have to also benefit from it. She noted that the tax has become important because of the rising number of out-of-school children across the state, adding that her objective is to ensure that the new education policy benefits every child, and asked the community women leaders to circulate information about government policies. Mrs. Soludo urged them to build God-fearing homes, create time for their families, and observe social changes around their children. Earlier in her remarks, the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Welfare, Mrs. Ife Ubinabo, held the impact of the women in political decisions, stressing the need for them to be advocates of change and help spread information about government activities and programs. On her part, the Transition Committee Chairman of Idemili South Local Government Area, Mrs. Amaka Obi, who talked about women involvement in policies, noted that women are vital in political decision, but have to get actively involved by coming out to make a case for what they want. Mr. Ugoeni Ezenwa, the Small and the Medium Enterprises Coordinator of Fidelity Bank PLC, who spoke on the partnership with Healthy Living with Noye Soludo and how women can benefit from it, outlined interest-free opportunities to support women who are into small and medium-scale businesses, as well as other opportunities for economic empowerment. The Anambra State All Progressives Grand Alliance woman leader, Mrs. Esther Onyekasi, Anambra State Association of Town Union women leader from 129 communities in the state, led by their leader, Mrs. Ifoma Okaro, among others, attended the event. Anambra State government has discovered incessant disposal of waste into gutters and drainages instead of the designated locations, in spite of the fact that Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo has shown good example by repeatedly going out to the search gutters and drainages in Ochanja Market and its surroundings. A release signed by the Anambra State Commissioner for Information, Sapo Mosu, states that a circular by the Ministry of Environment dated 20th February 2024 markets, estates, parks, layouts, neighborhoods, streets, schools, churches, abattoirs, shopping complexes and the plazas, and all public spaces. We are directed to carry out this exercise from 23rd February to February 15th March 2024. The release said that the government is said to note that in spite of all the notification and media announcements, those concerned have not heeded these warnings to the state gutters and drainages in their environment. According to the release, henceforth, Operation Clean and Healthy Anambra Orcha Brigade will be on active patrol to ensure compliance with these directives, and anybody or group caught flouting this directive, it shall be penalized according to the law, as government is determined to maintain and sustain a clean and healthy environment. The Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals, NUAP, has called on President Bola Tinubu-led administration to make healthcare top of its agenda through adequate budgetary provision and effective management system. The national president of the group, pharmacist Kamal Ibrahim, met the call during his opening remark at the ongoing Special National Delegates Conference of the Union held in Awka, Anambra State. Correspondent Emmanuel Okonkwo tells us more.
Pharmacist Ibrahim, who frowned at the inadequate attention given to the health sector in Nigeria, pointed out that the full implementation of Basic Health Care Provision Funds, BHCPF, contained in the National Health Act 2024 is a sine qua non for attaining universal health coverage in Nigeria. The Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals National President made a case for Nigerian government to address health workers' outstanding demands, including payment of arrears of wage award, implementation of new minimum wage, constitution of statutory governing council of federal health institutions, recruitment of healthcare professionals to fill vacancies created by brain drain in all public health institutions, adequate funding of public health institutions, harmonization of salary structure for health workers in order to drastically reduce the issue of brain drain in the health sector. On his part, the National Deputy President of the Union, Comrade Charles Nwoye, who is also the Anambra State Branch Chairman of the Union, harped on the need for effective communication and collaboration amongst health workers in order to deliver the best healthcare services to the patients are kings in hospital. Presenting a paper on the theme of the event, a guest lecturer from the Department of Laboratory Science of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Dr. Samuel Ogeni, identified lack of collaboration amongst healthcare professionals as one of the major challenges facing the health sector in Nigeria, which, according to him, is caused by political factors, polarity in leadership structure, polarity in career progression and structure, lack of communication, lack of interpersonal education, among others. In an interview, the chairman, National Association of Nurses and Midwives, Anambra State Council, Mrs. Edith Onwoka, who is also the joint negotiating chairman, Anambra State, said that the theme of the event was apt and called on government at all levels to look into the crisis in the health sector in view of solving them. Some guests at the event, including Anambra State Head of Service, Barrister Theodora Igwebwe, who was presented with an award of honor at the occasion, traditional ruler of Omasi in Aya Melumo local government area. Igwe Ben Okeji, represented by the President General of the town, Mr. Alfred Okafor, and the Director, Justice Development Peace Caritas, JDPC Nnewi, Reverend Father Benedict Okolo, commended the health workers on their efforts in the health sector and for not abandoning Nigerians in search of greener pastures outside the country, as already done by many because of the economic reality in Nigeria, and assured them of their support at all times. The event, which had its theme as Universal Health Coverage, need for effective collaboration amongst health professionals, attracted members of the union and critical stakeholders from across Nigeria. In Awka, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
It is important to remember that the fight for gender equality is not over. While progress has certainly been made in recent years, there are still many challenges the girls and the women face around the world. Unfortunately, girls' rights are under threat worldwide. This is according to the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF. The UN agency reveals that adolescent girls' rights worldwide remain under threat, with millions of girls around the world being denied access to education, forced into marriage at a young age, and subjected to gender-based violence. The Chief of Field Officer, UNICEF, Bauchi, Dr. Tasha Rana, stated that in the face of the ongoing global economic crisis, political turmoil, and the humanitarian emergencies, adolescent girls are often overlooked, exploited, or placed in precarious situations. Rana spoke to participants at the Modern Dialogue, which drew journalists and health workers from the 5 states of Adamawa, Bauchi, Gombe, Taraba, and Plateau under the Bauchi Field Office. He stated that the 2-day media dialogue themed Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress is to honor the achievements of the women and promote women's rights worldwide. He said adolescent girls' rights worldwide are under threat, with progress on key issues either stagnating or regressing on a global scale. Russian Foreign Ministry has summoned the U.S. ambassador in Moscow in protest against interference in domestic affairs. A senior Russian military officer warns that conflict could escalate into a full-scale war in Europe and said the probability of Moscow's forces becoming involved in a new conflict is increasing significantly, according to the report. High oil prices, sanctions, evasion, and state investments are providing Russia with enough resources to fight on for at least 2 more years. Lieutenant intelligence agencies say European Union lawmakers approved granting Ukrainian food producers access to EU markets for a further year, rejecting a series of amendments that may have added restrictions. Sports. Tyson Fury and Tony Joshua met in Saudi Arabia on Tuesday before the latest heavyweight fight with Francis Ngannou on Friday. The Britons have rarely crossed paths despite their long-running rivalry. Fury took aim at Ngannou for suggesting he won the fight in October, but did not directly speak to Joshua. Joshua, Fury, and Ngannou took a picture together alongside footballer Cristiano Ronaldo and Saudi power broker Turki Al-Sheikh. Remember that you can follow news and programs on Anambra Broadcasting Service from many parts of the world by liking our Facebook page, follow us on ABS Radio Television, subscribe to our YouTube at youtube.com ABS Television Oka, and on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. Main points again. Truth, Justice, and Peace Committee has submitted report to Governor Soludo. Mrs. Soludo has revealed plans to move out-of-school children back to school. UNICEF has said that girls' rights still under threat worldwide. Russia-Ukraine war, Moscow has summoned U.S. envoy over interference. And before we conclude this news package, remember that Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of Anambra State economy, promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. And that's the breakfast news this morning. My name is Ichoma. Do have a good day.